The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter, often described as one of the most significant and bizarre UFO incidents in American history, took place on the evening of August 21, 1955, in the rural area between the towns of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Christian County, Kentucky. This event is sometimes referred to as the Hopkinsville Goblins case or the Kelly Green Men case, and it has intrigued UFO enthusiasts, skeptics, and folklorists alike due to the strange and terrifying experiences reported by the witnesses. This incident is not only known for the vivid and detailed descriptions of the alleged extraterrestrial beings, but also for the sheer number of witnesses involved and the subsequent investigations that ensued. The encounter occurred at a small, unassuming farmhouse on the Sutton family's property, which was occupied by the Sutton family and some friends who were visiting that evening. The principal witnesses were Elmer Lucky Sutton, his wife Vera, their friends Billy Ray Taylor and his wife June, along with the Sutton children and other adults totaling 11 individuals in all, including several children. They were engaged in an ordinary evening, gathering for dinner and conversation in the small, dimly lit farmhouse. The family lived a simple, rural lifestyle, and it was a quiet night without any expectation of the extraordinary events that would soon unfold. Billy Ray Taylor, a friend of the Suttons visiting from Pennsylvania, stepped outside around 7 p.m. to fetch some water from the well. As he was drawing water, Taylor noticed a strange sight in the sky. A bright object emitting a rainbow of colors streaking across the sky before landing in a nearby gully. Taylor, startled but excited, rushed back inside to tell the others about what he had seen. However, his account was met with skepticism and dismissal. The group laughed it off, attributing his story to an overactive imagination or a misunderstanding of natural phenomena. Approximately an hour later, the Suttons' dog began barking fiercely outside, alerting the family to something unusual. The dog's frantic behavior led Lucky Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor to step outside to investigate. What they saw shocked them. Approaching the house from the woods were small, humanoid figures that did not resemble anything they had ever seen. According to the witnesses, the beings were approximately 3 feet tall, with oversized heads, large, glowing eyes, and long, spindly arms ending in talon-like claws. Their bodies appeared metallic or silver, and they seemed to shimmer or glow in the dim light. These beings moved in a peculiar manner, described by witnesses as floating or gliding rather than walking, as if weightless and unaffected by gravity. The men ran back inside the house, barricading the door and grabbing firearms, a .22 caliber rifle and a shotgun, in a desperate attempt to protect themselves and their families from the perceived threat. What followed was a nearly 4-hour siege in which the family and their guests claimed they were besieged by the creatures. According to the witnesses, the beings approached the house repeatedly, peering into windows and attempting to gain entry. The men fired their weapons at the creatures through the doors and windows, claiming to have hit them multiple times at close range, but with little effect. The bullets seemed to bounce off the beings, producing a metallic pinging sound as though they were striking a solid, impenetrable surface. At one point, one of the beings was reported to have been hit at close range, causing it to flip over and retreat into the darkness without apparent injury. Another creature was seen on the roof, clawing at the overhang above the front door. Despite their aggressive efforts to fend off the intruders, the creatures seemed unharmed and undeterred, continuing their eerie surveillance of the farmhouse. Terrified and overwhelmed, the family decided to make a break for it. Around 11 p.m., they piled into 2 cars and sped off to the Hopkinsville police station, approximately 8 miles away. Arriving in a state of panic, the group reported their ordeal to the police, describing the creatures and the prolonged attack on their home. The police were initially skeptical, but the genuine fear and distress exhibited by the Sutton family and their friends compelled the authorities to take the report seriously. Several police officers, along with a contingent of state troopers, military police from the nearby Fort Campbell, and a photographer from the local newspaper, accompanied the group back to the Sutton farmhouse to investigate. Upon arrival, the officers found the house in disarray, with spent shell casings and bullet holes evidencing the family's desperate attempts to defend themselves. However, despite an extensive search of the property and surrounding area, no evidence of the creatures was found. There were no tracks, blood, or other physical signs that would suggest an encounter with unknown beings. The police did note the unusual state of the witnesses, describing them as sober, genuinely frightened, and not appearing to be under the influence of alcohol or drugs. They also noticed a strange luminosity in the grass near the house, but it was never conclusively linked to the creatures or any kind of extraterrestrial presence. After the initial investigation, the officers departed and the Suttons returned to their home, still shaken by the experience. After the authorities left, the Suttons and their guests tried to settle down, but the peace was short-lived. In the early hours of the morning, the creatures allegedly returned, resuming their attempts to approach the house. The family once again fired upon the beings, but the creatures displayed the same invulnerability as before, seeming more curious than hostile. The renewed encounter lasted until just before dawn, when the beings finally retreated for good. In the light of day, the family, still unnerved, left the farmhouse to stay with relatives in Hopkinsville, fearing the creatures might return yet again. News of the incident spread quickly, and the story of the little green men drew significant media attention. Reporters, curiosity seekers, and even UFO investigators descended upon the small community, eager to learn more about the strange events that had transpired. The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter has sparked numerous theories and explanations over the years. Skeptics have suggested that the incident was a case of misidentification, perhaps involving owls or other nocturnal animals whose reflective eyes and gliding flight patterns could match the descriptions given by the witnesses. The great horned owl, in particular, has been pointed out as a possible culprit due to its size, reflective eyes, and aggressive behavior when protecting its territory. Other skeptics have posited that the entire episode was a hoax, either perpetrated by the Sutton family for financial gain or exaggerated due to hysteria and group dynamics. However, those who support the authenticity of the encounter argue that the witnesses had little to gain from fabricating such a story. They were not known to seek publicity or profit from their experience. And the Suttons, by all accounts, were modest, hard-working people who seemed genuinely traumatized by the events. Ufologists, on the other hand, have often cited the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter as one of the most credible and detailed accounts of a close encounter with extraterrestrial beings. The consistency of the witnesses' descriptions, the sheer number of people involved, and the lack of any clear motive for deception have bolstered the case's status within the UFO community. Some theories propose that the beings were extraterrestrial scouts, robotic probes, or interdimensional entities, hypotheses that go beyond conventional scientific explanation. The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter has left a lasting legacy in both popular culture and ufology. The term "little green men," often used colloquially to describe aliens, is widely believed to have been popularized by this incident, despite the fact that the Suttons described the beings as more silver than green. The event has inspired books, documentaries, and even influenced fictional portrayals of aliens in movies and television. In Kelly, Kentucky, the encounter is commemorated annually with the Kelly Little Green Men Days Festival, a celebration that features parades, alien-themed merchandise, and reenactments of the 1955 events. This festival has become a beloved local tradition, drawing attendees from around the world who share an interest in the paranormal and the unexplained. Despite numerous investigations and countless hours of speculation, the true nature of what happened on that August night in 1955 remains a mystery. The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter endures as a compelling chapter in the annals of UFO lore, a story of ordinary people confronted with the extraordinary, whose lives were forever altered by an experience that defies easy explanation. Whether a genuine extraterrestrial visitation, a case of mass hysteria, or a simple misidentification that spiraled out of control, the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter continues to captivate the imagination and spark debate nearly 7 decades later.